What makes Disney's original Snow White great? The remake is on its way, and I thought it would be nice to take a look at the original and see what really made it so wonderful. 3 things. Number 1, sheer delight. Number 2, craftsmanship. And number 3, it was a faithful adaptation. And I'm using faithful in 2 senses there, both in its adherence to the story and the Christian faith. Before we get into the video, please like and subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of my content. Hello, I am Paulo Fabregas, a comic book artist and author. Please try to catch my series of comic books on Amazon. This is my comic book about the Battle of Lepanto, an exciting moment in history that nobody really knows about. So please check it out. Now, back to the video. Number 1, sheer delight. If I can sum up in one word what the original Snow White is, it's delightful. If you haven't watched it in a while, I suggest that you do, and you'll notice that the middle portion of the movie is pretty much void of conflict. So how did Disney and his team keep us hooked through this middle portion, through the sheer power of delight? For example, the whistle while you work scene. There's no conflict here. It's just, let's clean the house for the little orphan children with the animals, and you're mesmerized at how the animals choose to clean the place. I wish I could show you the video, but I'm afraid of copyright strikes, so I'll talk through the stills, but you should just go and watch it. For example, looking at how the squirrels clean and wash the plates with their tails. The squirrels use their tails in a lot of different ways in this scene. One of them is drying the plates. The fawn and the other chipmunks as well, they start licking the plates until Snow White tells them to stop. Hey, no, use the tub. And so that's what they do. And then you have this delightful scene where all of this water is splashing into the tub and they're actually cleaning the plates properly. You can see how the squirrels are then trying to sweep all of the dirt under the rug until Snow White tells them not to. No, they try to put it into a little mouse hole. The mouse gets mad. And look at how they even use their tails they spin their tails to get rid of all of the cobwebs. And then the chipmunks try to do it, but they're not as successful, and they get into a fight with a little spider. Now, this scene is flush and full of all of these tiny little jokes. And you don't care that there's no conflict because you're just marveling at the creativity of the scene. Even here, as the birds just fly in and water the flowers, and each of those individual flowers is animated, you can see that in every frame, every moment, Disney and his team is asking, how can we turn this into a joke? How can we make this nice? Also, the original Snow White's craftsmanship is unbelievable. Snow White, as you know, is traditional cell animation, and every element is drawn by hand. And every second of film has 24 frames. So there are 24 drawings per element per second of film. And that amounted to around 1,500,000 drawings for a 1 hour, 23-minute feature film. Look at this shot. You have bending boughs, individual animals, birds. The amount of work for each animal and leaf is just incredible. And even this, look at all this action in this one still frame. You have the characters, the pickaxes, the shadows, everything done by hand. And I think that adds to the awe and majesty of the original. So in the live action redo, I wonder if anything will be lost if I know it's computer graphics. I mean, here's some still shots from the teaser trailer, and it's okay. You have some cute animals here running up the stairs, but I don't know, I think I miss the animation. And you can already see here in the teaser trailer that they've made some changes here. In the original, Snow White cleans the house with her forest friends, and here the 7 dwarves straighten out the house, I guess to show her managerial and leadership gifts. As of filming this video, the full-length trailer of the new Snow White is out, and Disney seems to be hiding it. They're playing it in the theaters with Wicked, but they're not putting it online. And one has to wonder why, but not really wonder for very long. They've made some obviously massive changes to the story to the point where, can we even recognize it as Snow White? Which brings me to my last point. Another reason the original Snow White is great is its adherence to the source material. The Brothers Grimm fairy tale is Christian allegory. It's a very effective way to catechize young minds without getting into the weeds of Catholic theology. No child is going to say, "Mama, let's read the catechism again." No, but Snow White, anybody will swallow. So that's the objective of the Grimm's fairy tale, to teach the Christian faith. So you have Snow White, who stands for all of humanity. You have an evil queen who is deeply envious, who wants to kill Snow White. This is obviously a satanic figure. She wants to eat Snow White's heart. Dark stuff. And then you have the seven dwarves. In the Grimm tale, the seven dwarves try to warn Snow White not to talk with anyone outside because the evil queen still wants to kill her. In the Grimm story, Snow White doesn't listen 3 times. She interacts with the queen 3 times and she dies 3 times. So you can say that this is the near occasion of sin. When you get near the devil tempts you and you will fall because it's nice to sin. You can resist only for so long, and it's better to stay away. Therefore, you can make the argument that the 7 dwarves stand for the 7 lively virtues. These are the virtues that keep you away from sin and the devil. The dwarfs are nameless in the fairy tale and given cute, funny names in the original animated, but they still fit the allegory as they effectively bring the evil witch to her death. So the devil is defeated by the virtues. As I said, she dies 3 times in the Grimm story, but is revived twice by the dwarves. The poison apple stumps them, though, and she's dead without decomposing. The poisoned apple is obviously a reference to the forbidden fruit in Genesis, the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, where we get our original sin. But it could also simply be mortal sin. Now, if you commit a mortal sin, that's if you violate any of the 10 commandments and you die before you repent, then you are eternally damned. That's Catholic theology. How it looks like in real life is that you look alive, but you are spiritually dead. With Snow White, that manifests with her not decomposing. She's in a kind of death, kind of like Sleeping Beauty. Then comes the prince, and the prince is Jesus Christ. He's the prince we all long for, that Snow White sings about in the beginning. Someday he will come again. It is this love that brings us, Snow White, back to life. He can forgive us our mortal sin through confession, through a priest, or through his death and resurrection, or he wipes out our original sin and we are fully alive again. There are many ways to read this in an allegorical way. Now, I've heard from interviews with the notorious actress Rachel Ziegler that in the modern live-action remake, the prince isn't necessary, that he even could be edited out, and it's Hollywood, baby. Now, if you edit out the prince, then you edit out Jesus. And I don't know if there is a better metaphor for the way of the world today. From the same interview, Miss Ziegler says that the story is going to be more about her discovering her power as a leader, which we see in the unofficially released trailer. She's not singing about someday my prince will come. She's singing about the girl boss that she's meant to be. So what's the story? And this is just a hypothetical. Because she is fair and just, the people of the kingdom with the forest animals will rally with her, depose the evil queen in a gigantic battle, and instead of taking up her mantle as queen, because she is fair, she distributes the wealth of the kingdom evenly among everyone and lives peacefully in the cottage in the forest. And that's going to be a nice socialist fairy tale. But the queen somehow escapes and gets revenge by turning into an old crone, and somehow she gives Snow White the poisoned apple, but instead of the prince saving her, it's the love and care of the people that do, maybe? I've seen snippets of the new trailer, so who knows? I'm just spitballing here. The remake has some really big shoes to fill in terms of craftsmanship, and I hope they can match the original's sheer delight and joy and creativity. I'm not a fan of these realistic remakes in general. The more real you make the characters, the less delightful they are, truly. Case in point. I'm also apprehensive about the way they're treating the story. If Snow White doesn't get saved by the prince, then it ceases to be Christian allegory, and in my opinion, ceases to be Snow White. We have now deviated from the objective of the story, which is to teach children about the Christian faith. Of course, anyone is allowed to do that, but can you still call it Snow White? I don't think so.